Hello everyone, I'm here with an early look at the Yugi deck, or Gold Sarcophagus of Light, however you want to call it. I'm going to call it Yugi deck because that's easier to say. It's simply faster. This is a very early build of what I'm looking at. The cards just came out on Edo Pro as of recording. This is probably going up on Friday, so it's been a little bit since I recorded. And this is kind of what I'm looking at right now. Obviously, there's still 3 cards I really want to get rid of because I really don't want to be playing a 43 card deck for reasons we'll get into. But yeah, this is the cards that I think really make this deck work pretty well, and I could see... I'll give some suggestions for what I could see cutting at the end. But yeah, these are the cards I'm really thinking really work well with the deck. First up we have There Can Be Only One. It turns out this deck works under There Can Be Only One. I hate playing floodgates like this, but it's really the best thing you can be doing with the deck. If you want the most optimal build, it's the one that plays the floodgates, because it's very much a control strategy, and if you can constrict your opponent's board, you got the control there. Next up we have Forbidden Droplet. Forbidden Droplet really works well with the deck because it is just good negation that gets rid of cards in hand that you otherwise probably weren't going to use. There's not a lot of, spitting out your entire hand in this deck, so you're gonna have cards in hand that are just like, I don't really care if this is in my hand or not, and you can get rid of it with the Forbidden Droplet and turn it into a negate. And then we also have Triple Tactics Thrust, which is one of the best cards in the game right now, and this gets you a lot of stuff. For one, if you get interrupted, you can go into Triple Tactics Talent, of course. Everyone knows this. You can go into Imperm, of course. You can go into Pot of Prosperity if you want to. You can also go into Ties of Friendship, the new card that is a very, very good card. So you got a lot of options here. Obviously, we're playing the Triple Tactics for the talents for the thrust. I can't just say Triple Tactics anymore. Infinite Impermanence is just a good negate right now. Helps against Rescue Ace and Pearly and stuff like that. Pot of Prosperity, very essential in this deck because we absolutely must see Tricolor Gadget, and any way to get that more consistently is very welcome. Gold Gadget and Silver Gadget are here to work with Tricolor Gadget. When they're special summoned or normal summoned, they can special summon a level 4 machine monster from hand, which of course includes Tricolor Gadget and also includes themselves. So we can also go into a rank 4 if we just happen to draw 2 of them, but it's unlikely because we're only playing 2 of each, mainly because the only thing they can't summon is themselves, so you really don't want to draw duplicates. But we also don't want to be running 6 of them because we don't have room, obviously. But yeah, they have the same effect. They're basically the same card. Cashier Fenrir, very good card. It's just a good control card. It's good in the deck, and it also still plays under There Can Be Only One because it's a psychic. Next up, we have the actual Yugi deck cards. You have Gish Gandora. I didn't mean to say Gandora with it. I was corrected on my pronunciation of Gish. I think I'm saying that right now. Gish. And so I ended up putting the accent on the Gandora as well. Didn't need to do that. But this guy gains 300 attack for each banished card, so it's like a bad Grenmaju because it requires playing all of this other cards. So you can special summon this card from your hand, see, if you control the Gold Sarc. And then you can pay half your life points to destroy as many other cards in the field as possible, and then banish them, and then special summon a level 7 or lower monster from your deck that mentions Gold Sarc, and then increase its level by the number of cards destroyed by this effect. So, what this allows you to do is wipe the board, banish everything, which increases Gandora's attack, and then you increase the level of the card you summon, Silent Sword of the Earth, or Silent Magician, which then increases their attack points. It's good if you're pushing for lethal, otherwise it's pretty bad, so you're just playing the one and you're gonna search it, and that's all there is to it. Tricolor Gadget is the must-have card. This is the absolutely must-be in your opener somehow, some way. Luckily, we have 9 ways to search it, and we have Pot of Prosperity to make it even more likely to find one of those 9 ways. So, it's fairly consistent, but I could say that about just about any deck these days. What this does is on normal or special, you can add a Gold Sarc of Light or a spell trap that mentions it from your deck to your hand, so it searches all of these spells, all of these. Which means theoretically we can cut down on some of these spells, but I'll go into why I'm playing 3 of them each right now. I'm perfectly willing to cut some of these, but I have reasons for why I'm playing so many of them. It also, when it's Destroy a Battle or Card Effect, sets Stronghold of the Hidden Fortress, which... bad card, first of all. Just a bad card. But secondly, it's never being destroyed by battle or card effect. We don't have anything in the deck that does that, except for Gandora. and we're not going to Gandora a board on our turn 1. So I don't understand that. Next, you have Silent Swordsman 0 and Silent Magician. They're basically the same card, except for small differences. This one, during the standby phase, you increase the card's level by 1. So this increases on both your turn and your opponent's turn by 1 each turn. It gains attack equal to the difference of its original level to its current level by 500. So every time it gains a level, it gains 500 attack. And then when your opponent activates a card or effect that targets a Gold Sarcophagus of Light or a monster that mentions it that you control, you can negate the activation and increase its card's level by 1. So the negate has a way to level it up to gain it more attack, but it also just negates targeting, so it's kind of bad in the same way that Gate Guardian combined is kind of bad. Like, ooh, Gate Guardian combined has 3 negates, but it's only on targeting, and nothing targets anymore. But you know what does target? Kashtira Fenrir. So if they go for the banish on Gold Sark, he's there. Assuming you don't chain anything to it. That might cause problems. Silent Magician 0, on the other hand, levels up when your opponent draws a card. So this means that it's not going to be leveling up every level, it's going to be leveling up every other level, but it can level up multiple times per turn because your opponent can theoretically draw multiple times per turn via card effects. So stuff like Pot of Extravagance, it would gain 2 levels off of that. Not that that's played very much anymore, but the Snake Eye stuff is played a lot now, and that draws a card as well. So stuff like that, or Rescue Ace HQ draws a card. So there's a couple of ways where Silent Magician 0 will gain levels perhaps faster than Silent Swordsman, or perhaps slower than Silent Swordsman. It all depends on how the game goes. This also gains attack the same way Silent Swordsman does, and then it has, instead of a targeting negate, it negates a spell card or effect that is activated while you control Gold Sarc of Light, which is a lot better, which is why we're playing 3 of this, because you do want to make sure that this guy gets on the board, whether it be by the effect of the next spell we're going to talk about or not. Speaking of, let's talk about that spell now. Ties of Friendship. If you control Gold Sarc of Light and a monster that mentions it, special summon up to 2 level 4 or lower monsters with different names from your hand and or deck that mention Gold Sarc of Light. And then you can't special summon monsters from the extra deck for the rest of the turn, but crucially, that's for the rest of the turn. So you can special summon monsters from the extra deck up until you activate Ties of Friendship. So you can, if you can manage your locks correctly, theoretically you could combo off. Not that this build does that, but in a theoretical build where you're more running this as a splash engine, you could combo off and then activate this and go into like maybe Silent Magician. You probably want to go into Silent Magician 0, Silent Swordsman 0. I'm not playing Marshmallow, or Marshy Marshmallow rather, because he sucks. He's really bad. Have you read him? He's really bad. Next up, we have Turn Silence. This is a pretty cool quick play spell. It lets you target a face-up monster you control and increases level by 3, which of course increases their attack by 1500. So it's a battle trick. And you're thinking, why do I care about a battle trick? Battle tricks suck. What? They're so bad. Why would I care? Well, if you activate this in response to your opponent's monster effect activation while you control Gold Sarc of Light and a monster that mentions it, you get to negate the opponent's effect. So it is a battle trick, but it's also effect negation. Additionally, it's also battle protection, because if your monster that mentions Gold Sarc of Light battles, you can banish this card from the graveyard and end the battle phase. This includes when they're attacking too, so be careful about that. Don't activate it from the graveyard during your battle phase. But yes, this can protect your guys when they're still small enough to be harmed by bigger monsters. And then we have Silence Towards the Future. Now this card, it has 2 effects, one of which I'm not sold on, and one of which is just Rhoda. You add a monster from your deck to your hand that mentions Gold Sarc. It's a quick play, it's a Rhoda, that's pretty good. Like that's Snake Eye right there, you know, or not Snake Eye, the specifically wanted, the spell card for Diabell Star. That's it. Like, it's a quick play Rhoda. That's good enough, honestly. But additionally, if you activate this card during the battle phase while you control Gold Sarc of Light and a monster that mentions it, each player draws cards until they have 6 cards in their hand. So why would you want to do this? Well, theoretically, if you have Silent Magician 0 on field, you can activate this card during the battle phase and have your opponent draw a bunch of cards, which will level up Silent Magician 0. and make it have a higher attack stat, which means this is a battle trick as well. But it also lets you refresh your hand, although it only does so after you've rotated, which means you're gonna have one less card to draw no matter what. Very unfortunate. I don't like that, but it can come up in certain situations. Like in some situations, that's the end of the game if you do it that way. If you have this set and are waiting like that, and there's a lot of times where you're not going to need the rotor because there's only a few cards in the deck you'd actually want to get off of this. You don't even want to get Silent Swordsman 0 off this. You don't want to get Silent Magician 0 off of this if you don't have to. Ties of Friendship gets those out for you. So there's really only 2 cards in the deck you want to search. Gandora and Tricolor Gadget, and you're likely to have them already because there's a ton of other searchers, Tricolor Gadget and Gold Sarc of Light. And, you know, Tricolor Gadget just gets one of these guys. So you're not likely to actually need the Rhoda. So what you can do is you can save the Rhoda and use it as a battle trick in a very specific situation where that's going to basically win you the game. I don't know. I'm not sold on it. It's not particularly good, but the fact that it's a Rhoda is a reason enough to play it at 3. I want to say this is the worst card of the 3, but because it's a Rhoda, it's not. So you really have to play this one at 3, and the other 2 are the ones you could cut to 2, maybe. Yeah, that's basically how it is. And then we have a Gold Sarc of Light. This is what makes the whole deck turn, so it has to be at 3. It's a continuous spell that can't be destroyed by monster effects, so it's immune to Gandora's effect, which is really good because you don't want it to leave the field. You need it to activate all these cool effects. And then during your main phase, you can add a card from your deck to your hand that mentions Gold Sarc of Light. So it rotas the entire archetype except for itself. And then if your opponent special summons a monster from the graveyard, you can discard a spell and target one of those monsters to send it to the graveyard. So it's also got some removal. But only for monsters that are special summoned from the graveyard. How many decks are doing that these days? I feel like that's not a very common thing anymore, right? So, but there's a few. You know, it's going to come up occasionally, and the deck has a lot of spell cards in it that you can discard. There's a lot of our deck is like our main deck is spells, and a lot of our non-engine, a lot of our engine and our non-engine are all spells. So there's plenty of things to discard. I'm just not sure if you're ever actually going to need that effect, but it's there if you need it, you know? Then for the extra, we have 2 IP, 2 SP Little Knight. This is the easiest thing to go into. There's not a whole lot of extension in this deck. I'll show you off what you can do. And it's mostly going to be make IP, make SP Little Knight in the opponent's turn. Because the thing is, with Ties of Friendship, while it does... doesn't lock you until you activate it. To activate it, you need to have a monster that mentions Gold Sarc of Light on the field, which means you're going to have Tricolor Gadget on field if that's how you set this up. So Tricolor Gadget is going to need to be like left on field, and none of these other guys have a way to summon themselves. It's just Gandora that can special summon itself, which means theoretically you could use Gandora as just like an extender, I guess. Now that I'm thinking about it, that might actually be better than using it as a game ender. Just play 3 of it so you can special summon it to extend. Because you can special summon it if you search it. You can special summon it before you activate Ties of Friendship, and then go into IP Masquerena, I guess. But yeah, that's why we're playing the Gold Gadget and the Silver Gadget, so we can get extra material on field, but we still can't use them to make... You can't use Tricolor Gadget, I mean. So you're just kind of left with them on the field unless you have Keshtira Fenrir. I don't like this. I really don't like the fact that you're just kind of left with this guy in the field. Now, if you do manage to get the IP Masquerena because you have the Keshtira Fenrir and the Gold Gadget, or the Gold Gadget and the Silver Gadget into IP Masquerena, you can use the Tricolor Gadget to make SP Little Knight during your opponent's turn. That's fine. You don't need it at that point because you've already got Silent Swordsman and Silent Magician. But, you have to get there first. You can also go into some of these other cards later as well. Obviously, there's lots of rank 4s going on. You could theoretically go into a rank 6. It's not going to happen very often. I just think the idea is funny. This is not very good in this deck. Mistweller is a pretty good rank 4. We have rank 4. We have ranked monsters, so Zeus and Typhon is good, and Gear Gigan X is actually really funny because if you just draw a Gold Gadget and a Silver Gadget and you don't have any way to get the Tricolor, you could just make Gear Gigan X and search Tricolor and just wait for next turn. Platinum Gadget is also not very good. these are like, I put this in here without, I ran out of ideas. Like, I don't know what to do for this extra deck, because the deck is like the antithesis of the extra deck, but we need something for Pot of Prosperity. Also, I was thinking Extrav, but because Tricolor Gadget is the entire deck, or Tricolor Gadget slash Gold Sarc is like the entire deck, Pot of Prosperity, it allows us to really dig into our deck. And that's also why I'm playing 3 copies of Ties of Friendship and 3 copies of Turn Silence, is because there's only 2 searches in the deck, Tricolor and Gold Sarc, and there's 3 cards I want to search. Actually, potentially more cards if you want to search Gandora as well. So, you know, the more that we actually draw in our opening hand, the less we have to search. But yeah, we definitely don't want to be running a 40 card deck, or 43 card deck, I should say. So you either got to cut the gadgets or you have to cut some of these spells, because I don't think you cut Kashtira or any of this non-engine. It's all like really necessary, I think. But yeah, and then on the side I have more tactics targets like Herald of the Abyss, Feather Duster, and Dark Ruler No More, which going second, I think Dark Ruler No More goes crazy hard in this deck, but not as hard as Forbidden Droplet, because Forbidden Droplet lets you have more OTK potential. If you can clear the board of effects and also lower their attack stats so you can get over with your huge Silent Magician, Silent Swordsman, and Gandora, and then just go for lethal, that's really nice. Evenly Matched also helps clear the board, because sometimes you just need to clear the board, and you need to make sure you see something that lets you clear the board. Summon Limit for when you're going first, because again, the floodgates really help the deck go. You're not special summoning very often in this deck, especially after turn 1, so it's just an easy include. Ash Blossom, of course, everyone knows why this is in here. You just gotta stop a search or a special summon sometimes, and then Droll will just win some games. It won't win every game, but it'll just win some games. So yeah, that's basically the idea I have behind this deck currently. Let me know what you think, of course, but I'm going to show you a couple of test hands that I ran and let you see how the deck works in action. Okay, so here we have a test hand. This is a not a lot of non-engine. We do have There Can Be Only One, though, so we probably win. Gold Sarc of Light, activate the effect to get Tricolor Gadget. We'll normal summon Tricolor Gadget. Tricolor Gadget effect to search. We already have a whole bunch of the ones we want, so we're just going to grab Silent Sword of the Future. We don't really need to get anything else. We're going to activate the effect of Ties of Friendship to summon Silent Magician 0 and Silent Swordsman 0. And now we have a full board. We're going to set all of our quick plays and our Floodgate Trap. And yeah, so that's a Spell Negate, a Targeting Negate, a Floodgate, a Monster Negate, and Battle Trick, I guess. Not ideal, but you know. And then our Gold Sarc's effect is turned off. We don't have a spell in hand. We are going to gain a level in the draw phase and then a level in the standby phase. That's going to be very annoying, by the way. Extremely annoying that you gain a level during the draw phase and then this one gains a level during the standby phase. Whatever, though. Yeah, we'll flip up There Can Be Only One. We'll also flip up Turn Silence just to see how that works. 3k. We'll activate the effect of Silence for the Future, but it's not during the battle phase, so we're not going to get the draw effect. But also, they already have 6 cards in hand, so I don't even know if the effect goes off in that case. But we'll go ahead and search Gandora. And then, you know, we'll gain a 500 in the phase, that phase, and we'll activate Gandora. We'll activate Gold Sarc to search. Gandora, for some reason, cannot activate its effects currently. I think it's because There Could Be Only One has psychic powers, and the only targets we would be allowed to search would be Silent Magician 0 or Tricolor Gadget, which are the same type as monsters we already have on field. So There Can Be Only One is the one stopping us, even though There Can Be Only One would be destroyed in that case. And it's like an if-then thing, but because it's psychic, you can't do that. So Gandora just stays at 0 attack, and I guess we're just going to use it as extension. But I didn't decide to do that. Imperm. I don't know. It's not as impressive as I was hoping. I think like Runic would obviously have more potential like interactions in hand, but it would have less non-engine that can more effectively deal with stuff in the current format. And Runic Fountain is like in a particularly weak position currently with SP Little Knight in the format. So I'm not sure on you know, the viability of the runic version. And also there's like, with runic, you need like a much smaller package. Like it's a small package. It's like a 20 card package, but even then runic is still gonna like start running into problems where you're not drawing enough quick play spells. Mostly it's just like the fact that we can't fit in non-engine. That's like if we try to fit in non-engine, we're gonna be reducing the amount of runic cards to the point where we're not gonna be drawing enough runic quick plays to actually play the game. So, and also runic and like stops you from having a battle phase, which is like this deck's entire purpose is to go to battle phase in a lot of cases. So it makes it hard to do like a quick lethal push, and these guys are not necessarily strong enough to withstand waiting like sprites can, you know. Like there's a certain point, this is like something I was discussing with a friend, at a certain point you're just making worse runic sprite. And that's what I found myself doing. It's like we were just making worse runic sprite, and I just like, okay, I just gotta do this floodgate version instead because it's the only way this deck actually works. It's possible that there's like some other deck that you can just like have a very small footprint and combo off and make like a couple of negates or like a couple of interruptions of some kind before we start doing Gold Sarc stuff. If that's the case, that becomes a lot better, I think, than this floodgate version. But yeah, let's check out the next replay. Okay, for this next replay, I'm going to show you what happens when you draw the gold gadget and the Fenrir, because unfortunately you have to draw both to do this. So obviously we go Fenrir effect, grab Fenrir, gold gadget effect, summon the tricolor gadget effect, grab the Gold Sarc effect. We're going to grab the Ties of Friendship. We can make IP Masquerade there, then make Ties of Friendship to get our guys on field, Swordsman and Magician. Then, you know, of course, they're going to gain their little levels. If they summon a monster, we can IP using the tricolor gadget because we really don't need it anymore, and then SP Little Knight. Unfortunately, there's really not a good place for Silent Swordsman to come in here to use its targeting negate. I don't know why. And then, yeah, you can just Ties of Friendship again. There's nothing stopping you from doing Ties of Friendship on the second turn, which is why you gotta play at least 2, I think. Yeah, we're gonna Gandora here just to show it off what it does. Get everything banished. We'll go to battle. Activate Turn Silence to gain a couple levels, but it's still not lethal. Theoretically, if our opponent had more stuff on field, Gandora would have more attack, and Silent Magician 0 would have more levels and more attack. So it might have been lethal at that point. I think if I had made them set Forbidden Droplet, that would have been enough. Or maybe Forbidden Droplet and Pot of Prosperity, but you've never said that. But, you know, so you can push for lethal. You're going to have to be doing a lot of mental math with this deck. You did, like, also have to give up all that board presence. Now, if you wanted to play Stronghold, I guess, you could theoretically, even going second, this would work. You could go, you know, tricolor gadget, search Gold Sarc, activate Gold Sarc effect to grab Gandora, summon Gandora effect. Gandora will destroy whatever your opponent has. It won't destroy Gold Sarc, but it will destroy tricolor, and that will set Stronghold. And Stronghold can get pretty high in attack, actually. It gains 1,000 attack for each Gold Sarc or monster that mentions Gold Sarc that's on the field, which includes itself, I'm pretty sure. So that means that by default, if you have Gold Sarc on field, by default it has 2,000 attack. But then with Gandora on field, it has 3,000. And if you have Ties of Friendship to get out Silent Magician and Silent Swordsman, now it has 5,000 attack. And that's pretty good. But it doesn't really have any other effects except for like a stupid effect where if the opponent's monster battles while you control Gold Sarc, I believe, it could destroy it. Why not banish? Cashier Fenrir is allowed to banish when that happens. Why not banish? I don't know. But yeah, there's like theoretical things you could do like that instead. I don't know that that's good. I feel like going first, you're gonna have to go first eventually, because your opponent will realize that you're doing like this going second I mean, going a second build might actually be pretty cool. But your opponent will eventually realize you're going second and you're going to go first, and then you're not going to be able to do anything. Although, you know, maybe you just do the play that I'm doing, going first here, and you just like cut all the gadgets and stuff, and you just hope that Silent Magician and Silent Swordsman are enough. That doesn't seem like enough to me, though. I don't know. Let's check out the next replay. Okay, so this one is just kind of funny. So I wanted to show this off because it's very funny. We have the gold gadget and the silver gadget and the gold sarc. So gold sarc effect to grab tricolor. Now, like I said, if we just had gold gadget and silver gadget and no way to get the tricolor, we could go for Gear Gaiken X to search tricolor. But we drew gold sarc, so we have tricolor. So gold gadget effect to summon silver gadget effect to summon tricolor. Tricolor effect to search Ties of Friendship will make IP Masquerena, then Ties of Friendship to summon the Magician and the Swordsman. And you know the rest from here. You can make SP Little Knight using tricolor gadget. And you can Gandora, because we happen to draw the Gandora, or you could use Gandora as a Forbidden Droplet, or you could use Forbidden Droplet as a Gold Sarc send. So there's all sorts of things you can do. Gotta say, it's not looking amazing as an end board, though. Even this, like, quote-unquote God Hand, like, even if Gandora was a Fenrir, this is still, like, I don't know. But yeah, let's get one last look at the deck, and I'll wrap up with some ending thoughts. So that's basically my thoughts on the deck as it stands currently. I almost expected to be in the second wave of support at some point, and the second wave of support could really, really bring this deck to a whole nother level. It kind of depends on what they decide to add in that next wave of support. I don't know what monsters they would add, because I think we're kind of running out of them, and the deck doesn't really need more spell traps. Maybe a trap would be okay, but we're kind of fine on spell traps. What it needs is more monsters that actually do things, more ways to, you know, prevent your opponent from outing your board. But yeah, I don't know. We'll see what happens. I don't even know if there is a second wave. I'm just assuming, because most of the time when there's a new archetype, we get a second wave. But this is also technically legacy support, which doesn't always get that second wave. So I don't know. So here's Stronghold the Fortress, by the way, and yes, it is indeed Gold Sarc and the monster that mentions it. 1,000 attack for each, which seems okay in this theoretical like going second version, but you wouldn't be able to activate the trap immediately. It's a very slow card is the problem, is that because it's a trap card, it's a trap monster, you know. I don't know. And then, of course, there's Marshy Marshmallow, which I also didn't include. This card really sucks. It can't be destroyed by battle. Woo! And your monster can't target other monsters for attacks. Okay. Each of the following effects once per turn. During your opponent's turn, if you control Sarcophagus of Light, you can special summon this card from your hand, which getting a special summon makes it so it's something you can extend with, theoretically. But there's only 2 searches in the deck, and I have a lot of other cards that are much better that I want to search instead. And then you can, if this card is destroyed by card effect, special summon one other Marshy Malin. So you gotta play 2 at least to actually activate its effect. And it's also only if it's destroyed by card effect. So, and it can't be destroyed by battle, but it can be banished, or returned to the deck, or returned to your hand, or, you know, I don't know, man. And it does 1,000 damage if it does use that second effect, but like, I could only see using it as an extension. So like maybe we play this instead of the gold gadgets, and we just hope we draw it, or we search it if we have some of the other cards that we would rather have search instead. Maybe, or we do that with Gandora. I would rather do that with Gandora, because Gandora has a better other effect. And then you can like do that combo where you actually use the tricolor gadget for something to going second to go into Stronghold, maybe. Ah, man, I just really don't know what to do. It feels incomplete for sure. It just doesn't really have an end board that matches up with the current meta. It doesn't have an end board that matches up with the previous format's meta, you know. It almost looks promising, but then you realize like how conditional a lot of these negates are. Like, okay, this is a good monster negate, but you have to have Gold Sark on field, and you have to have a monster that mentions it, and you're gonna pretty easily have that unless they Raigeki you, and you better hope you have Silent Magician to negate that. What if they have the second Raigeki? You know, what if they evenly match you? There's no trap negate. There's no trap negate in this entire deck. So if they evenly match you, everything's gone. Well, except for one card, of course. So you're gonna have to choose Gold Sarc of Light, I guess. And another important thing is that a lot of these cards have no way to get themselves out of the grave. So once Silent Swordsman 0 is gone, he's gone for good. We can't get him back. And we only play the one, so he's just gone. Marshy Marshmallow is the only one that has any kind of float effect. Except for, I guess, Tricolor Gadget technically floats into a trap card monster, which, man, that's some weak float effects. I just don't get it. I don't get why they print cards like this, especially for the cover card of the set to be this disappointing. But again, this is like one of the better cover cards they've put out. This is like only topped by, like, I guess the Neos card is pretty decent in Hero, and the Blackwing Synchro is pretty good, and the Firewall Dragon card is pretty good. I think the rest of it, I guess Gandora is probably better than, maybe. And Gandora's deck is better than, but I don't know if Gandora itself is. It's not a really important part of this deck. The most important part is Silent Magician 0 and Silent Swordsman 0, and then, you know, the search effects of Gadget and such. So yeah, that's kind of like the thoughts and analysis I've had on the deck. Definitely let me know what you think. Any synergies that you know of that might be better than this. Maybe like if you could find just like a small engine that can do consistently a small combo. I don't even need it to be very large, because I think Silent Magician 0 having a spell negate and Silent Magician Swordsman 0 having a negate, and then the quick play having a negate might be enough, as you can just get a couple of more interruptions on board. And also the fact that they gain attack stats like crazy, and they also have a card that protects them from being trampled over, and then we have a card that special summons 2 more. If we could find like a small engine to run, and then we can just cut this all, I think we would cut this down a lot. But I would really miss getting multiple access to Ties of Friendship if we cut this down to 1, you know? Because there's no way to recur this either. Like, I compared some of this stuff to the Snake Eye stuff, but the Snake Eye stuff recurs itself infinitely. Rescue Ace recurs itself forever. Monadium doesn't. But Tear Limit recurs itself forever. And Unchained, I think, recurs itself pretty well as well. I've been playing that one just a little bit. I don't know it super well yet. But this deck doesn't recur itself at all. It doesn't even recur like card advantage. The only card it has that does so also makes your opponent draw cards. And that's just untenable. Like, what if they draw a Veiler? What if they draw a Battle Fader? Oh man, I don't quite understand the design philosophy here. It feels like it's because here's the reason why. People were talking to me in the comments of the react I did to this archetype, and they were commenting that, like, I mean, it's not supposed to be good because it's just boomer. It's just like boomer nostalgia bait stuff. But this is a significantly higher power level than a lot of that boomer nostalgia stuff. This deck here would clean the clock. I almost said a different thing there. Would clean the clock of a Dark Magician or a Blue Eyes deck. This deck is so much better than any Dark Magician or Blue Eyes deck ever, including branded Blue Eyes. This deck right here would just annihilate them, except for maybe Mirror Jade. I think Mirror Jade does sweep this deck, actually. So besides Mirror Jade, there's no way a Blue Eyes or a Dark Magician deck would be able to stop this deck unless they got Dark Dragoon. But those, like, extenuating circumstances aside, this deck is like crazy power level, I think. So I don't understand, but it's like not crazy power level in terms of the current format. So it's like, I really, like, you know, the current format recently had a big power boost. So it's like, are they trying to give a big power boost to legacy support as well. It's like these nostalgia decks as well, even though it's not going to be at the same level as the main format. I don't know. I don't get that. I would just make legacy support that's the same power levels as the regular format. I would simply make good cards instead of bad cards. I don't get why you can't allow Dark Magician to be as good as Rescue Ace if you're going to print new cards for it. If you don't want it to be that good, don't print new cards for it. I don't know. It's an annoying deck. I wouldn't want to play against it, but clearly they want to make new cards for it, and people are going to play it because they don't ban it or like rotate it out. So why do they keep printing bad cards for it? But regardless, I think with some of these floodgates, this deck actually has a decent shot going first, and with a theoretical going second build, it could theoretically do some cool stuff going second. It's probably better than like your Grand Maju, but that's oh my god. Oh no. Oh, it's better than Grand Maju. Oh, that's crazy, dog. Oh no. Oh god, oh no. I don't know. Let me know what you think. I'm going to try and wrap up this video for real this time. Let me know what you think in the comments below. I really want to hear what your thoughts are, what different synergies you can think of, things you can put this in. I want to hear stupid things you can do with this. I guess you could play it with a Grand Maju thing. Gandora and then normal summon Grand Maju. That seems alright. I don't know how you're getting Grand Maju on or Gandora on field without normal summoning Tricolor Gadget. Just simply draw Gold Sarc, I guess. Anyways, let me know, and I'll see ya in the next one. Bye. Hey there. Thanks for watching another video. Why don't you give it a like, share it around, subscribe to the channel, and ring the bell for notifications. You know, the YouTube stuff. You can also follow me on Twitch and Twitter for more content. I got content plenty for ya. You can also support the channel by giving me money. You have a Patreon. If you join the Patreon, you can show up in the credits over here. I would really appreciate that. You could also use my TCG Player affiliate link to get any singles, sealed product, or accessories that you want, all to supporting the channel at the same time. That's all for this one, and I'll see you in the next one. Be kind to yourselves, be kind to others, and have a wonderful rest of whatever time it is for you. Bye now!